Ring, ring, ring. Hi, Sun.
Hi, Moon.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sun and the Moon Talks. My name is Alex.
I'm Sarah. And as you can see, today we're together.
And we are in a different scenario, so thank you so much for joining us today. Sarah and I decided to create this channel because we are both Cancerian esoteric weirdos that really need a place to come and talk about all the things and to share with all of y'all to find community. So as our last episode, if you haven't seen that yet, shows that each episode has a different topic. And Sarah, what topic are we going through today?
So, if you remember from the last episode, we gave you a little riddle to give you a clue as to what this next episode is going to be about. And so, the answer to that riddle and the topic that we'll be talking about today is, drumroll please, video games. Yeah, so today we will be talking about video games. And so the great thing again about the Sun and the Moon Talks is that we cover a vast amount of topics that just bring us joy and hopefully bring you joy as well to create community. Because we can be esoteric and spiritual and also like these different aspects. And so we'll dive into video games, we'll do a factoid deep dive. We'll talk about some of our personal experiences and relationships with video games. And then we have some Enchant Your Life tips and resources, and then some takeaways for you to take after this episode. And then we'll end it with a clue for the next episode.
Thank you so much for that rundown.
Yes.
Keeping us on schedule.
Absolutely. So... let's start. We'll start with the factoid and deep dive about video games, and then we'll see where the journey takes us.
Yeah, so I'm curious for today, what do you want us to know? Because also, we're learning from each other. A lot of what we bring to each of these episodes is not only our own take, but our own experience. So I'm learning as much as you all when I'm hearing Sarah speak.
Yeah, so yes, and I love that because... yeah, some topics that we're diving in I didn't know about, and so we all get to learn together. So, though video games gained their popularity in the 70s and 80s, the concept and the idea of what we now know as a video game actually began in the 50s and 60s. And so we could dive into how that began, but I feel like I like to give Black perspectives on video games and knowing and sharing the idea that there's Black pioneers that also paved the way into some of the great inventions that made video games what it is to this day. So I'll just rattle off some Black pioneers, and then of course there's more resources if you want in the show notes. Yes, in the description. Yes. So we'll have our first pioneer is Gerald Jerry Lawson, and he's the father of the game cartridge. And so what ended up happening was he also ended up being the owner of Videosoft, which is the first Black game development company. And this was back in the 70s, 80s. Please do your own research on this for specifics, but we can give Gerald Lawson his flowers for what he's done in creating the game cartridge, which is what you've seen in like Nintendo.
What's a game cartridge?
The game cartridges are like in like the old school Atari Nintendo games where you buy the plastic, the plastic container, and then you put it in. Yes, so he's one of the pioneers of developing what the cartridge is.
Oh wow!
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, which I think is really fascinating because there's all like we're represented in all these spaces, but it's like you have to actually dig in and discover.
Find it.
Yeah. So the next Black pioneer is Ed Smith, and he pioneered the first combined home video game console and personal computer. So the Atari, Nintendo, Xbox, that idea of taking this arcade experience and doing it at home, Ed Smith was one of the key players in pioneering the home video game and personal computer. So we wouldn't, the Switch And, the Game Boy wouldn't be what they were without Ed Smith. So we can give Ed Smith his flowers.
Wow.
Yes. Okay. And then we have Mariel Tramus. Sorry for the mispronunciation. But Muriel paved the way for Black women gamers in general. As we know, the gamer world, even though there are a lot of movements being a female gamer in today's world, it's still very much of a male-dominated industry. And so
Absolutely.
Muriel Tramus was one of the way pavers of Black female gamers and really making a space for us and a community for us to really show up.
Was this also in the 50s, 60s that she did this, or more recent?
I think this one's more recent.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
cool.
I want to say this was more recent, just based on how recent just being a Black female gamer has even just emerged.
Fair.
Yeah, so we'll give Muriel her flowers, and then our last Black pioneer, even though there are so many that exist, is Alice Wonder Woman Washington. And she's a pioneer of installing printed circuit boards and making arcade games a reality. So she was one of the pioneers of installing these computer chips that allow you to really play the video game, joystick, buttons, and really communicate with the computer and the screen and the joysticks to make an arcade game something that is like what we know it now.
Wow.
So really creating that computer chip.
Wow.
I know. And I think it's amazing.
Yes. And I really like how all of your examples, you're sharing like different parts of the gaming world.
Yeah.
As you were saying, like the representation is like across the spectrum.
Yeah.
But also not known. And I don't know, we can maybe go in this other section, but do you know if these people have like ownership rights or any kind of like patents for what they did?
I think some. So it'll be yes and no.
Okay.
Because we know how things can get when it comes to being a Black inventor.
Yeah.
You put all this work and effort into something and then
stolen.
Yeah, it gets stolen, your name gets erased or excluded in the final product and the final, recognition phase.
Yes.
So that's why it's important that we hold these conversations here, because if you didn't know about them, now you do.
Voice. Yep.
Yeah, and so we can find our own ways to give recognition and really honor those folks for what they've done.
Absolutely.
But I would say, I think Ed Smith, the first game console was called like the Imagination Machine. I know, which I love.
I feel like that's something you would have invented or called.
Which makes sense because it's like the imagination and it's like an imagination machine.
Yes.
And you get to like play games. So I think some stuff was probably protected, but was it given the same recognition?
Yes.
Right? And
yes.
So it's like we know about the Atari, which is fine, but how well do we know about all these other things? So
yes.
So yeah, that is just some of the basics of just video games from our perspective. But I want to know, Alex, some of the factoids and deep dives, the deep dives that you have.
Thinking about what you were sharing of the pioneers, they themselves, could be channelers, like that they're bringing this information to this reality to create video games, like how they even conceptualize that. And I think about that component when you're speaking because it goes into this belief that I have that video games is actually a reflection of our reality. And that you can very much see your life as a video game and construct life as if it was a video game. And literally you can have these inventors that are doing it in the real world, in the material world. But, something that I always like to share with people who become skeptical when I share, and even Sarah brings this up in her process of play, that life is your own personal video game. And which means you are your main character. So it's like when you're starting up a game, especially if you're a one player and you see like all your lists of strengths and the weaknesses of that player, maybe their favorite weapon or what weapons they're strongest with, right? So if you took that third perspective of your life and yourself, you could construct and have a case study of like who you are as a character.
Yes.
And I know for some people, maybe some viewers here, this is like right spot on. And for those skeptics, I always like to mention that science and the people in charge of our governance systems are actually behind what a lot of esoteric spaces are speaking of. And one of the examples is the CIA declassified this document called the Light Matrix. And the Light Matrix document by the CIA was basically them proving the concept that we live in a multiple realities, like a multidimensional reality, and that we have the power to alter part of our realities. If you do not believe me, I have also linked to the actual document of the CIA, and there's a bunch of YouTubers like discussing and going deep dive into what this actually is. So I won't do all that here. But what I wanted to really highlight about that is that this type of thinking, that our reality is like constructed out of this sacred geometry matrix that we can manipulate and create ourselves, is very similar feeling of when you're in a video game and you're creating these type of systems or you're creating your type of character. And what I think is that's so important is because if you were playing your own video game right now, do you like what you're playing? Like, would you still be playing, or are you bored as hell?
Yeah.
And if you are bored and you're like, who would be playing my life as a video game? You know, just start to think that it's your choice to change that if you would like.
Yeah, and I love all of what you're saying because I know that you love playing The Sims.
Oh my God, I'm such a simmer. Well, not as much anymore because my life will be just Sims if I decide to play again.
Fair enough.
I remember as a high schooler, man, I'd be there for like 8 hours, man.
It's so
It was my
addicting
life.
to just like be able to just like see The Sims and like building this other world. But like I often I'm like, okay, when I came into this world, I obviously had to choose the expert mode mods. You know what I mean? Where it's like you could, you know how you start the game and you can choose like the easy, like I want to play it on easy, or like Mario Kart. It's
Mario
like,
Kart.
okay, you can choose to play it at 50 cc's where it's real gentle and stuff, but like whereas the reward is not as great.
It's not as satisfying.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
You get those places.
But then you play like the expert level, and so I'm like, okay, I must have chosen to play expert level to like come into this experience as a Black person, as a woman, and as like a creative entrepreneur. It's like all of these things are like the hard choice. Yes, max difficulty for that. Yes,
That's
max
real.
difficulty for that. Max difficulty for that.
That's real.
And it's like, but it provides like some sort of like. Okay, then if I chose to do expert, then I obviously felt like I was skilled enough.
This is capable. Yeah,
Yes.
You're capable of it.
Yeah, exactly.
When do you think, going to a little bit more of like our personal takes, but what do you think was the moment that kind of switched on in your head? Or did you always know that your life was kind of like this video game that you could shape?
I think, well, I've been a gamer since I was a baby, so
Cool.
Nintendo through and through. Even now, hardcore dedicated stand for Nintendo. But so the idea of like playing this different character was always in my head and like imagining all these worlds. But I think it really, I don't know. I feel like it was something that like I knew, but then slowly knew more. You know, it's like you kind of know something in the back of your head, but then the more you start doing stuff, you're like, oh, wait, actually,
That's real.
we are. But I would probably say somewhere around learning like the Matrix and like exploring simulation theory and really looking at
simulation theory.
Yeah,
Cool.
so it's like the world of simulation. So I'm like, okay, if it's a simulation, then could I control it? And really looking at like free will and say, okay, well, we have free will, and if life's a game, then how would I use my free will to attain what I need to attain in life instead of this box thinking of like NPC thinking.
NPCs, yes. So you're saying like you kind of knew in the back of your mind, but as you lived through life, like it really became like a cemented idea that
It's like it kept affirming it. Yeah, it kept affirming how I was feeling. So then, you know, I watched movies like The Free Guy and like
man.
yeah.
I still need to catch up on that.
Yeah, you have to watch it. But like, or even the like Truman Show.
Oh, Yes.
It's like those things where it's like, hey, there's like, if there's an audience, if you're a sim,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I feel like it was just affirming, like these things kept, affirming the fact of like, okay, well, if we are in a game, well then I'm going to play it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What about you? What's like your first awakening to this idea of life being a video game?
That now you said, I kind of agree that I knew young. So I wasn't so much of a gamer, but my cousins and everyone I was around were.
Okay.
And I was always like, I won't play, but I'll watch. I don't know why. I just like I'm watching a movie, but people playing, like streamers. People just watch, people just stream, like play video games.
Yeah.
That was with my cousins.
Okay.
I just wanted to see them play. And I was obsessed with doing that. So maybe there was like already like a glitch in my subconscious that's like,
you were already like,
there's something about realities, not all what it seems. But I would say my aha moment was the first time that I tried psychedelics.
Okay.
So it's specifically the first time that I tried mushrooms and LSD.
Okay.
And I remember when I was under the influence, literally I looked at my hands and I was like, what the hell? I was like, what am I? Like, it sounds so crazy.
Like you're just out.
But it felt like I was in that video game with my cousin when he's like the first player, and it's like get your gun, and then the hands are here, right? And they're like moving. And it's like get your gun, and okay, let me reach that. Like the first player, you're in that perspective.
Yes.
From the video game. That's exactly how I felt under the influence.
Wow.
And I was like, cool. It was like I was seeing myself for the first time.
Yeah, it's like you're really able to like be like, I'm in this body, I'm in this avatar.
Yes.
Because I've heard that a lot too. I've heard some people refer to themselves as avatars. You're like, my avatar right now is this. Absolutely.
That's the exact experience that I had. Mm-hmm. And the first times I had it, obviously I was like, I'm just high. So I'm like, whatever, I'm just glitching. But as I moved through more with my life, I'm like, actually it was just kind of like finally me getting like a more perspective. Like I was separating ego from spirit. Like I was able to finally be like, okay, this is my mind and how I'm perceived in my body and my vessel. Okay. And I'm something also bigger than that has control over this. So yeah, that was kind of how that happened. I love that. And Sims, honestly, like I was saying earlier, just going back to playing The Sims, I was like, we're playing God in this video game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, human beings like to pretend like we're not the gods, but we control the entire planet. We even are affecting its temperature just by the activities that we do. Yeah. So we are more of a creator of our reality than we would like to own up to.
Holding accountability and holding ourselves responsible.
Yeah, because we actually have that power, whether we want it or not. We have that power.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, so we have that control, and we are in this like virtual type of existence. Like, then what can we create so that all of us are benefiting from this?
Exactly. I love that. Yeah, and that is. I think more people need to take ownership of that. For sure, because then when you're playing a video game, especially like one of those first-person adventure-free kind of roaming games, it's like if you don't progress in the game, it's literally because you're not doing the stuff.
You're not doing the stuff.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. And so same thing, like it's very action. You have to actively play.
You're an active participant.
Yes.
And I also feel like the world would be better if we were also active participants, because we're invested in our own lives and our own well-being. And so I would love to see like the gaming culture that we see create, like, Kingdom Hearts, like Final Fantasy, like all of that beauty and that creation that goes into games, it also goes into this reality. Yeah. Because they could exist on both planes.
And it's like, I love that you mentioned Kingdom Hearts, because love
from the soundtrack.
How you felt with Sims? It's like I can't play Kingdom Hearts because I will literally just
be there
all day. What? Work? No, we don't have time. Food? No, we're playing Kingdom Hearts.
Such a beauty.
Yes, until like my eyes fall out of my sockets. So, but what I love about Kingdom Hearts is that you have this beginning part that Sora enters, and during the training. And from that moment, he chooses how he wants to show up in the game. If he wants to be a mage, if he wants to be a warrior.
This is so true.
And it's like, that is how we choose
Yes.
like what role are you going to be in this game? Are you going to be a fighter? Are you going to be someone who's actively out there?
Yes.
Because then when you choose that, then the universe is going to give you more tools and skills to support that.
Yep.
Versus a mage, then instead of carrying a sword, you're carrying around a wand, and it's like the universe is going to keep supplying you with stuff to help you tap into those skills and talents. But you have to actively choose a path and then like do the actions to upgrade your skills in that scope. So you know, what kind of character are you? Defender, warrior, acrobatics, you're more agile, and then like supporting that in your role as a character.
Yes.
It's so interesting.
Yes to all of that. And this will be hopefully more explored in a different episode on a different topic, but you can also have more than one multidimensionality.
Yes, you can.
But we'll cross that then. But it's like, okay, you have flexibility also, because
Just to get the gears turning about, you know, just reflecting on yourself and knowing that if this is a video game, then you then inherently get more skills and talents and items
yes.
to support you once you keep progressing and doing more within the game. So you can stay in stage 1, which I think a lot of people do, and they're like, I'm good right here, and they're like, oh, but then the people that but the people who do realize it's a game, they're like, oh, okay, I got it. Then you follow your path. But that's the great thing, is that you can make the choice.
Yeah.
You can actually literally make the choice and be like, well, if I realize I'm in stage
hands.
1, you can at this point make the decision to then now progress to stage 2. So it's not a done deal. You just got to acknowledge it and then do the stuff.
So for those who are watching us right now and they're like, we agree with y'all saying, like, we want to get on that, like, how do I even begin? Like, what would be an enchant your life trick or resource for someone wanting to take more ownership and delve into themselves as like the character of the life that they are?
I love it. Perfect. That's a perfect segue to Enchant Your Life, where we provide tricks and resources to help you dive deeper into the topic that we're talking about. So my Enchant Your Life resource is going to be checking out more communities and platforms that support your niche if you're a gamer. And so one link that I will provide is the blackgirlgamers.com. And it's just a platform to just show that you're not alone. There are other people like us that love these things, like in all scopes and capacities. And so once we start building that community and really feeling that
you're not alone, man. You're not alone.
Yeah, we could start building safety around that and community around that, so then we can allow ourselves to dive in more now that we feel safe to do so. So that is my resource. That is also in the notes, so feel free to check that out. What do you have? What is your Enchant Your Life trick or resource?
Mine is going back to what I said at the beginning of this conversation, which is really take a third perspective, like a bird's eye view of who you are, and even talk about yourself in a third person context. And literally write, like, you know, Alex, her strengths are this, her weaknesses are this, she would love to do this. Like, you're really creating the sim version of yourself, and just creating like that distance and seeing yourself from this higher perspective that allows you to really see the trajectory that you're taking with your life, or like threads throughout of it that really highlight things that are really true of who you are, and others that are like, why is this here? Do I even want to embark on this type of journey, or was it, you know, placed upon me? So my trick would just be like, literally create your character really based on your life, and also add some spontaneity to it. Add any whimsical elements to it, such as when I was 13 and decided to create my own character from Lord of the Rings, and she had my characteristics, but, you know, she was an elf and a wizard. She had like all these things, but her life was actually chronologically following my true life. So I would say do that. If you're an artist, someone that sketches, it's great to just sketch out your character. Like,
Yeah.
who are you? Like, what's this character that you've decided to live this time around?
Yeah, I like it. And like you're saying, it helps zoom out because I feel like in our life we can get so like, we can really laser focus on...
Literally says zoom out.
I love that. I was like, what is
That's
this?
why I got it.
Oh, yes. It's like you have to zoom out and be like, okay, wait, this is who I am. And so you can view yourself in this less laser focused way of like, I just got to do this thing. It's like, oh, wait, I'm a character. So how do I want to show up? And then it helps build like a more playful foundation of reaching your goals and aspirations and really showing up in this way that matches how we want to feel about ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So we have some tips and actionable invitations for you. Yeah. Do you want to give the folks their side quest?
I would say, my invitation to listeners is to go on a side quest. And a side quest is basically, like I said, you're in a main character mode. Say you're building up to meet the head boss, meet that final challenge for this level. But on your way there, you need to strengthen up a bit. You got to buff up a bit, whether that's, in that video game coin or certain skill sets. So I want you to imagine right now, what's something that can be a side quest or beef things up. Do you need to take a random drive to a nearby place that you've never driven to? Do you need to take up this class of this really quirky hobby that you've always eyed but you're not that sure about? I would just finally put it on your map, put it on your radar, even if it's something so small as taking a drive to a different location as a side quest. Then start seeing your life as these bits of experiences that you make that are crafting who you are on the bigger, longer path.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like side quests really bring some spontaneous joy. You never know where it's going to take you.
Or who you'll meet.
Yeah, exactly. So I love it.
What about for you? What's our invitation for listeners?
Okay, my invitation is, if you are a gamer, revisit that. Some people say I'm not a gamer at all, but then they're playing games on their phone. You're a gamer if you play games.
That's real.
And so being intentional with that and saying, okay, well, what games do I actually like and why do I like them?
Yeah.
And then also revisit, maybe you were a gamer and then for some reason life was lifing and then you had to focus on work, family, whatever. Go back and revisit. Pick up some sticks like back in the day and play some video games. Just 30 minutes, and just reconnect with that childlike joy that you maybe once experienced. And so having time and holding space and intention for that. And then my last actionable step is I am actually creating a game. I'm creating a virtual escape room called the Labyrinth of Mystery. And so by the time you're looking at this, it may already be out. So I will put the link also in the notes for you guys to check it out. It is a nice combination of wellness, virtual escape room, and goal setting, all within the work that I do within Curious Sunshine. So it's one of a kind. And
talking about Black, creators in the space, you literally have one right here and the resource to support and delve in. So, FYI.
I love it. Okay, are we ready to close out with the riddle?
Yes. Thank y'all so much for listening, and we hope to see you in the next episode. And guess what the next topic will be?
So, the riddle for the next episode is, I may seem separate, but that is a fault. I am whole with many parts, very much gestalt. When you view life through my lens, things can change. From your money to your brain and heart, a full range.
That's a good one.
Yes. All right. Thank you,
y'all.
everyone.
Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time on The Sun and
the Moon Talks. Yes.